Hello and welcome to the Playing Arts Podcast, where we put the spotlight on artists in our community. I'm your host, Andy Needham, aka I'm Called Andy, and the creator of the Six of Hearts and the Playing Arts Crypto Edition. Joining me this week is Lindon Schaab, who is a freelance 3D visual artist, music producer, and vocalist, and professionally goes by the name of GHØST GIRL. Lindon is best known for her mesmerizing 3D animations and VJ performances at festivals and concerts. She's also the creator of the Queen of Diamonds. In this episode, we'll get into Lindon's background in digital art and learn more about the themes in her work and her process. We'll also discuss her card and her upcoming project, Glitch Girls. Also joining us is Ash, who amongst being the community manager at MetaMars is also the glitch coordinator of Glitch Girls. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Great to be here. Cheers.
So I first like to dive in and get into the art and stuff. So, Lindon, how long have you been a digital artist for?
As far as like a digital artist, I've been doing digital illustration since I was like 14, I think is when I got my first Wacom tablet. And then for 3D art, I've been doing that for about 3 or 4 years now.
Okay, so what was it about 3D that drew you in?
Well, I started doing VJing about like 5 years ago or something like that. And I started doing drawn animations at first. And I just kind of wasn't feeling how it was looking. And somebody was like, you should try this program called ZBrush. And I was like, all right. And I opened ZBrush and I used it for like the first day. And I just like fell in love with that program. It's so awesome. I was like, I think I want to do this for the rest of my life. This is dope.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, I open ZBrush and I just get scared and close it again. So you didn't have that fear. You would just like dive in and just start molding it and molding the digital clay.
I mean, it's hard at first, but I just watched like a few of the little beginner videos. And once you get to a certain spot in learning, it gets really fun. And, you know, you just feel like the possibilities are endless. And I was like, having this like epiphany that I was like, this is the future. This is what I want to do. And I was like, I've never felt that way before about anything. So I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Oh, that's cool. A real kind of like aha moment, that light bulb moment or something. So, I mean, as a VJ performer, what's the biggest audience that you've played to?
Ooh, that's a good question. I've done like the side stage at Lost Lands, and that was pretty big. That was cool too, because they got all these like crazy like shipping crates and like dinosaurs that I guess are made by somebody who helped with Jurassic Park. And then DJ'd, I think it was for, I forget his name, it was like Van Dyke. I forget what his name at the beginning of this, what his name is. But yeah, I've VJ'd for like some like USC and Insomniac shows here, so.
Oh, wow. Okay. So there's like these huge dinosaurs are right next to you and animatronics and everything. And that's nuts.
Yeah, they're crazy. Lost Lands is probably one of the coolest festivals for if you're looking for like a very good art installation experience kind of thing.
Okay. Where is that?
Yeah.
Dinosaurs.
I forget where it was. That was a long time ago. It's kind of out in like the middle of nowhere. Let's see. I remember our flight. I got like stuck in Texas and it was really hard to get back. But it's in Legend Valley, which I guess is, I don't know. Oh, Columbus, Ohio. That's what it was. I was going to say Ohio, but I was like, I don't want to get it wrong. Or I was going to say Utah or something.
Oh, well, okay. People check it out. Now you know where to go. So apart from the VJing, the performing, have you got any hobbies outside of your art?
Oh, I mean, like, I feel like music and like singing is kind of like my hobby.
Okay.
Like I really enjoy doing it. And then I also really like video games and anime.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. We'll touch on that in a bit. So, and otherwise you're just, you know, working 24/7 by the sounds of it, from what I've seen. So no time for sleep or anything. So
doesn't really feel like work sometimes, most of the time. Sometimes
yeah, that's cool. That's nice. Well, Ash, when did you first become aware of GHØST GIRL and her art?
Well, it first happened for me a little while ago when a colleague from the past said to me, well, a colleague from MetaMars, in fact, said to me that he had met GHØST GIRL, and it was following the Playing Arts drop, and Lindon had been chatting with him, and of course this is Camisade on the Glitch Girls forum. And Lindon had said to him she was really interested in doing a generative. And of course he came to me and said, "Can we do this?" And I was like, "Damn right we can." And that was really the start of it. And it's been a wild ride ever since. But like Lindon says, I can live without the sleep, I can live without the food. As long as I'm enjoying what I'm doing, it's going to be all right, you know?
Yeah, I feel that. That makes sense. I want to talk a bit about your process and how long are you typically working on a piece for? Let's go back to the one-of-ones, which is what you've been doing up to this point. So for a one-of-one, what are you typically looking at for that process? And you can be rough, and I'm guessing it depending on the piece, right? But
yeah, it definitely depends on the piece, but I think for most of my animations, and this is really sad, I'll probably spend like a week and it'll be like 10 or 15 seconds. I've had some things that have gone really well. Like I think I had this collaboration with Big Head, and they're like, "Yeah, could you do this like music?" Like it was a short music video, it was like about a minute, but they were like, "Yeah, could you do this in like a week or two?" And I was like, "Oh, I gotta get it done." I just like didn't sleep and really grinded. And so it depends, depending on the animation, anywhere between like 10 seconds and a minute worth of animation for a week or two.
Wow. Where's that work ethic come from then? Just to grind it out until it's done. You got to dig deep for that sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of a loaded question, because like I feel that for a lot of my life, I guess I've just had like a really hard life, and I tend to kind of like reach for like escapism, and sometimes like I have a hard time and I just like don't want to think. I don't want to think. I just want to work, and like being able to focus on something else makes me feel a lot better, even though it's maybe like not super constructive. It's just like kind of nice to have that relief, I guess.
Okay.
For me, I can only get work ethic from satisfaction. I'm sorry to say, I'm naturally a lazy man. So I need to really love what I'm doing. But when I do, then anything is possible. But it's the satisfaction of building something and getting something done. Easy.
Yeah. I guess, this is for both of you. I guess once you're into it and, really feeling the project or whatever you're in, you get that flow state, and time is just, it doesn't matter. It's just like, you're enjoying the moment, and that moment can be hours. So yeah, I mean, are you working on like multiple pieces at a time, or is it just a focus, like laser focus on this one thing, get it done, then move on to the next? Or
I have like ADHD, so I think it's most of the time with 3D stuff, because it's relatively involved. I get what's called like ADHD tunnel vision, where like you can't focus on anything else. Like you will get so delved into this thing that like even if somebody tries to talk to you, it's really hard to get your attention. So like literally if I'm working, like somebody has to like move me or like put their hand in front of my face or something. And I usually work on one thing at a time, because I just find that if I try to do a bunch of things at once, things actually get done like slower, depending on what it is. So I try to like plan out and do what I would believe would be the fastest way to get something done and the most efficient.
Okay. In that planning stage, then are you you working on? Are you doing sketches to get the idea down, the bare bones of it, or yeah?
Yeah, it depends on the piece. Sometimes I do sketches. Sometimes I write down steps that I need to do to achieve like what's going on in my head. And a lot of the time I'll use references of anime for like frame by frame animation. So actually a couple of my animations are based off of like anime, and sometimes you can tell.
Well, that's cool. I think that's a really good thing, just kind of it's I think when I was doing motion design, well, I still do it, but learn, back in years ago, but you'd break down and really watch some of your favorite pieces and just, the kind of thing. I guess you're kind of doing that as a study. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. So what part of the creative process are you enjoying the most? Do you get more fulfillment out of the start of a project, or applying those finishing touches and just making it all pretty?
I really choose my favorite part. Like I really like creating the characters, but then I really like texturing. And I know like a lot of people are like texturing is like my least favorite part, but I love texturing. I'll spend so much time. I'll have like 50 different textures and I'll just like go for it. Because like if you have like good textures and lighting, it just like it makes it pop so good at the end.
100%.
Like it's so rewarding.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. That's awesome. So Ash, in your opinion, what is it about Lindon's work that really, catches your eye?
It's the detail, definitely. When we first saw the prototypes, we all kind of looked at each other and said, "How is this generative? How can we make this much detail with this much stuff work?" And it's I won't say it was amazingly difficult. It wasn't easy, but the way that Lindon built the art for us made it much easier. She obviously had an absolute, and this is one of the awesome things about it, she had a complete grasp on what's needed for the generative process, exactly how the art needed to be layered and all that kind of thing. And she gave us this massive art dump, and we took a good look at it. There were some complications we had to work through, but it was just, wow, this is exactly what we need. And we immediately got started on the algorithm. And of course, we're very proud of the algorithm. It took Swifty and I a lot of work to get it right, a lot of checking images, a lot of checking with Lindon as well about what's right and what's wrong, what needs to go with what. But we got there in the end. It's a very challenging process because you have to also kind of get in the artist's head. And then you have to instruct the computer in the way that to be in the artist's head and have it assemble the images correctly. Disallowing combinations that would be undesirable, and also, of course, setting the correct rarities for the traits that you want to be rare, and still ending up with the correct number being generated for the collection. People probably think there's just some program that does this. There isn't. You need maths, and you need a really good dev, and a good team, a good whole team basically to do this. It's quite the awesome undertaking, but anybody who's been on Discord and seen the sneak peeks will definitely appreciate the result. It's been absolutely awesome. We couldn't have hoped for a better outcome. And then the special 1-of-1s came as well, and we were like,
well, I'd like to talk about that in a bit, because we're going to get to Glitch Girls definitely, and I don't want to just reveal too much before we've had a good kind of arc to our journey here, because there's a lot to dig into there, as you've touched on, and we're excited to do that, of course. I think I'd like to, talk about some of your influences as well, because you said anime is a big influence, and from looking at your pieces and stuff, and I think music must play a big role in your work. You'd say that's true?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What is it about?
Basically,
Sorry, go on.
sorry.
No, I was just wanted to.
I was going to say, that's kind of like what first got me into it, was like I was VJing, and so like you're basically, it's like mixing video to music, and so a lot of my work is like relatively audio reactive, and sometimes I like put in the music at like different points in the process that maybe potentially people wouldn't do. And I feel like that makes it special. Like I really like time ramping to kind of make it match too.
Oh yeah, yep, yeah. So you get the movement as it happens, and it's synced up with the music perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
you can do it two ways. Like you can do it like with, you get the music beforehand, or somebody like basically composes it for you. So both ways are good.
do you work with a composer often?
Varian's my favorite composer that I'm working with right now for NFTs specifically. Like she just kills it. She knocks it out of the park. I feel like every time I work with her, like we're on the same wavelength, and she just intuitively knows what to do, and she's like fast as hell. It's really awesome.
Oh wow, that's great when you got a creative partner like that you're really synced up. That's awesome. I'd like to talk about. I think let's get into your card. And were you aware of playing arts prior to the crypto edition?
No, you guys just emailed me out of the blue and asked me if I'd like to do something, and I really didn't know. I was like, I think at this point, like scamming was getting like super intense, and so I was worried. I had to ask one of my friends that was, their name was also on the project. I was like, "Hey, is this legit?" Like, and it worked out. So yeah.
Yeah, I felt the same way when I got the email. I was like, okay, let's just check the website, and then I saw a list of names attached, and I was like, oh, this is legit. So yeah, but yeah, I get that. So did you get to choose your card, or you assigned it?
No, they chose it for me, and they made the perfect choice. I was like, ah, yes, the Queen of Diamonds. That's perfect.
Yes, yeah, that's awesome. Really, really lucked out as well, and I think it's perfect execution as well. So, I mean, did you have this idea that we're looking at? Did you have that straight away?
I kind of built this one as I went. I just remember thinking like, I feel there's like a lyric that's like, heroes always get remembered, but legends never die, and that's like super emo, but whatever. Basically, like I like the idea of somebody being just kind of like badass. Like when I like make my characters, I want them to be powerful, and I think that, and I want them to make an impact. And I really thought the idea, I was like, well, I don't really see like a lot of 3D artists doing like dual wielding weapons, which is more common in like, or at least like 3D art, but I see that more in video games. And I was like, I think I want to implement that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she's pretty badass. So,
Cool.
Yeah. Well, what I mean, this is something that I've talked to you about previously, but like I think it's worth sharing, and I'm going to get to a closer look as well, so we can really see the materials. For me, are really eye-catching, and I love that iridescent quality that you've got on the gloves and the way it reacts to the lighting. So was this something that you created in 3D or something you added in post? How did you achieve this look and feel?
That's actually something I do in 3D. I use Octane, and like using iridescent materials on their own is relatively simple, but you can do certain things. Like, for example, that one kind of like moves in regards to like where the camera is and how her arm moves. So you can attach the texture to either be moving in relativity to like the object or the world around it, I guess, or the camera, etc. Like there's different things you can kind of attach it to. And I typically make most of my textures like by scratch, like every time, just because I like it, I guess.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So so you're making them by scratch and building up any kind of roughness maps and stuff like that. And typically, like, are you going pretty crazy with lights? Because I know with Octane you can do some light linking and stuff, and just you get that technical with it where you're just like, I want that bit to be exactly illuminated, or are you kind of thinking it's okay right now, I know I can do it in post in Photoshop or After Effects or something like that?
Typically, so I actually took a lighting class from Ian Frederick. It was free here, which was super dope. And I was just like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to that lighting class because Ian Frederick, he does visuals for Wooly. He's a really talented 3D artist, one of my favorites, local to Seattle. And basically, the way that he does it is he thinks about what he can achieve with the least amount of lights. And he taught us different lighting techniques to give like different emotions that are commonly used in like movies and media. And I thought that that was super helpful. Typically, I think for most of my pieces, because they're more like humanoid, I typically use only like 3 lights. But I've seen like other people have really awesome techniques in lights, and I really want to get into it. But I typically find I just need 3 or so.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go down a real kind of rabbit hole of thinking it's like a product shot or something and just really getting every single detail. But yeah. Okay. That's cool. So, yeah, I mean, we've touched on a bit of the software you use, and these are like your tools, you know, the brushes and all this kind of stuff, really. So aside from digital and sketching, are there any other kind of physical or traditional methods you use to create art?
I used to paint a lot in acrylic in like, I guess like my 20s, like early 20s. And then I've tried a lot of different things. I've just kind of like tried things to see what I like, and it kind of works because with 3D you use a lot of different skill sets. And so like I've like done like photography and videos. I've tried what's it called? It's like where you use basically like a soldering iron to draw on wood. I forget what it's called, but I tried that once, which is really fun. And yeah, I've just tried a lot of things. I think I got into watercolors at one point too. Yeah.
So yeah, wide range of techniques and methods. That's awesome. I think and that obviously like informs certain techniques and things. And I think, you know, you've been in I was going to jump over to Foundation because I think you've been, would it safe to say you've been in crypto for like over a year now? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so during that time, you've just been doing these one-on-ones, right? So, and there's, you know, a vast amount of them here. So, I mean, do you remember when you like minted that first piece and how that felt, and when you got the first bid? And I mean, I want to know how you feel about auctions, because they can either be they can either make you feel elated, or they can give you anxiety, or, you know. So I mean, based on what I've seen in the history, this you put it up and it just sold, so that's awesome. But like, talk us through that.
Yeah, so basically I guess with the first one, I think I got a bid like relatively early in, and or like within like a couple days or something. And actually my first piece was on Rarible, and my friend bought it, and it was really nice. He goes by I think it's like Parrotism, or it's Parrot, who's a pretty well-known artist in the crypto scene. And yeah, it was just really nice. He was like, trust me, like try this, and like bought one of my first pieces, and I was like, oh, that's so nice. And then so I just kept going. And yeah, like as far as Foundation goes, I really like the UI. Fees are kind of intense. But I like the bidding because, like, I mean, just recently I had like one of my first bid wars, and it was so exciting. Like, I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, and it was funny because it was on a piece that I almost burned too. So it made me feel a lot better about the piece.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's talk about one of these pieces here, because I see this everywhere, and it's this one. And this is like your profile picture. And yeah, what made you single this one out for your profile? Why is it so iconic to you?
I love making ahegao faces in 3D. They're super fun, and it's funny because like you will get like banned on other socials for it. And I just think it's hilarious because it's like just a facial expression, and like and I understand like where it's derived from, so it's like inherently like sexual or whatever. But I think it's really funny that they like, especially on TikTok, like you're not allowed to make that face on there, or your video will get taken down and you'll get banned for 2 weeks.
Everyone know that.
Yeah, I know that because I tried uploading one of those and I got banned for a couple weeks.
No way.
One of my friends, like I know a lot of like cam girls, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I've gotten banned for that," and I was like, "Okay, cool, it's not just me."
Well, this is something I recently learned that you were part of the Empowered by Paris exhibition, right, on the Sevens Foundation. This is the piece, and this is did you collaborated with Varian on this by the looks of it? So
yeah, most of my pieces for the music I collaborate with Varian, or I collaborate with my boyfriend.
I love this piece.
This is really cool. So do you want to talk us through just a little bit of the inspiration for this, just briefly?
Yeah, basically, I was trying to think back on like media and kind of like where maybe I first felt like empowered or like powerful as like a woman, I guess. And like it's kind of weird for me because I'm like gender fluid, but sometimes I feel like one or the other, neither. And I think the first time was when I was younger, and I felt like it was okay to be like womanly, I guess, was like watching Kill Bill, and I was like, oh, she's so badass. And I like, because like women in media, like especially early back, like if you watch stuff, like women aren't allowed to be like front and center. They're not like fighters. They can't be aggressive. They can't be angry. Like they can't show like certain emotions, kind of in the same way that like men aren't allowed to cry, but it's like a lot of emotions that are like, I mean, yeah, it's basically the same thing. Like men aren't allowed to cry, women aren't allowed to be angry, kind of thing. Unless it's about something petty in media. So yeah, so I just think of Kill Bill, and she's so cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, and so this is this is a really, really cool exhibition. I think I quite like what they put out on Sevens Foundation too. So let's get to Glitch Girls. Yeah, we've got this really cool animation. Thank you for sharing that with us. And could you give us an overview of the project? I mean, you've gone from creating these single edition pieces to a generative art collection. So what initially prompted that decision?
Well, I mean, I was thinking about it. Some of my friends were doing it, and it looked really cool. And I think Kami Sade like hit me up, and he was like, "Do you want to do a generative collection?" And I was like, and I talked to them before. They seem really nice, and I was like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." And you know, I was thinking about doing one because I've always liked, probably super old now, but I really liked like Gaia Online and Neopets and all those kind of games when I was younger. So honestly, when I was building the avatars, I was having a ton of fun. It just reminded me of, like Gaia Online, and gave me that like good nostalgia feeling.
That's cool.
Let me just say, every single one of these pictures everybody is seeing is from the algorithm. Not a single one is handcrafted.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Could you talk us through the glitch map? Because it looks like there are several benefits for holding.
It's going to be updated tonight. That's a little bit of the text is still a bit placeholdery. It's going to be updated later tonight.
Okay.
But sorry, go ahead, Lindon. Where you see us going?
Yeah, basically, as far, obviously, like you met your Glitch Girl, and then what I think would be cool is we're thinking about doing this like fusion idea. I don't want to reveal like too much of it because we want it to be a little exciting. But the idea is that you take two of your Glitch Girls and you fuse them together, and then you get either, I'm not going to say too much, you get another thing.
Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I also like Axie Infinity.
Yeah, people always ask when they hear this kind of thing is, deflationary. No, we don't burn our art. We like our art.
Mhm.
You're not going to lose any skills in the fusing process.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we also talked about it, and like they were like, I was like, yeah, we probably shouldn't burn because then the collection's like not 69, and that's like an issue. So
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
It's an expectation in the space. It's not something I ever wanted to do. If you look back through the Discord, I had said it before we discussed it, which was probably a bit cheeky of me. Somebody had said, "Oh, deflationary," and I said, "No, we're not burning this art." So of course I was glad when Lindon had the same idea. Although I did approach her with the idea of them being deflationary, just because there is a certain expectation in the space that if a collection is deflationary, then somehow it's going to be more valuable. But these are all tropes which apply to projects that need those kinds of things to generate their value, and have never been valid for pure art and NFTs that you actually want to own, rather than just sell for a profit.
Yeah, and I want to. I mean, there are some. You've got some really special things in here for minters to find, right? Can we talk about the special editions? Can we?
Yeah, of course.
You've teased a bit about that, and let's have a look at one of them. So, is there a story behind this?
Oh yeah, that's based off of Belle Delphine, who like sold her bathwater to these, and like literally sold her bathwater to the point where she made millions of dollars off of bathwater, and it's so funny. And people tried to sue her for it and all kinds of shit. I thought it was hilarious. Like when I think of like I know a lot of women who are like cam girls that are like my friend, and like they get a lot of like shitty treatment, and I just like I'm like, I feel like it's cool to like kind of represent them in the collection in a way, because I feel like a lot of people think that like in order to be like a feminist, like you have to want women to be a certain way that's like goes against how women typically are. But in reality, like feminism is being okay with them being either one, right? So it's like more about like freedom of expression rather than one or the other.
Mm. And so how many special editions will there be for people to find?
So I just made about 11 of them.
Nice. And these are one of one special editions. So
yeah, cool. I think each one takes me like a day or two to make.
They will all be in the mint, but the very, very last one will be in the team reservation, and that one will be raffled to someone who minted.
Oh, cool.
So make sure you mint, guys.
We have an exclusive that we can share, and we can reveal another special edition right here. So
yes,
let's do
our
that.
second reveal.
Here we go. So, I mean, what was the inspiration behind this? I think I can guess, but yeah.
Yeah. So it was like on Squid Game, and I was seeing a bunch of girls on Instagram like cosplaying the Squid Game character, and I was like, oh, that's so hot. I gotta make that. That's awesome. So yeah, I just decided to make one.
That's awesome.
It really is. Every little detail has been changed. It's great.
Yeah, lots of detail here. Yes. So I think we are coming towards the end of this because we are running out of time. So I think I mean, I just want to ask you, what future plans do you have to make Glitch Girls a real kind of community-driven project? Because it seems like that's one of the goals that I've been picking up on.
Yeah, so I really love how so far the marketing has been super organic. Like we don't have bots like spamming people in their DMs, and then we don't have like a bunch of bots invading the Discord, which is really nice. I feel like the chat in there is super wholesome. I love I love our community so far. But as far as like I guess like roadmap things to help the community, I think that the fusion, like you guys are gonna love it. I'm really excited. We're gonna do some things that people haven't really done with a generative project before, and I don't want to reveal it too soon, but I think people are really gonna enjoy it. And I also just love like, I have a lot of people like they're like, oh, I wish I could grab a one of one, but it's like too much for me. So I feel like having generatives at like 0.1, having a bunch of giveaways and raffles. Like people love that, and it's really cool to like give back, like give to our community in that way. Also on the roadmap, it's like we're going to be donating a significant amount to domestic violence charities. So as far as like physical community, that's kind of the way that I feel like we're giving back.
Yeah, actually, someone who I wanted to mention this anyway. Someone who is very interested in the project is Art Chick, and she recently made a tweet which I thought was very, very poignant. And it said, "If your art project is a true art project, then you have a roadmap, NGMI. The roadmap for art projects is the art and the artist." And I hope it doesn't need much imagination to realize that Lindon's doing great things and going to be moving forward. And a token representing the OG community, like a Glitch Girl, for example, is going to represent opportunities going forward and opportunities to be involved with Lindon's art and grow with the artist, which is great. And of course, we're an NFT community, so there are going to be more NFTs, and we can't wait to show you what's coming up.
Wow, that's lovely. The lovely thing that someone's shared, and I think that's an awesome way of wrapping up this episode as well. I want to thank you both for coming on the podcast. It's been awesome learning more about your art and, well, yourself and your art, Lindon. And got to wish you the very best with the upcoming Glitch Girls Mint, which is this Friday, 22nd, right? Coming up.
Yeah.
Could we just...
Since there are people listening, sorry, the public mint, we've got a really special system lined up, so nobody has a gas war, nobody has failed transactions, and we know that a few projects have done this before, but we've taken it one step further. You will be able to literally register, and if you're a successful, mint straight away. No opening sale, closing sale. The registration and the minting will be open all day. That's
awesome. And I think because you guys are going to be hanging out in the Discord where our conversation always continues after the podcast. Any questions like this on the mint will be available there. So I want to say, to those listening live, again, check out, jump into that Discord channel and talk to Ash and Lindon right there. And thanks to our community for supporting the Playing Arts project. And once again, thanks to Lindon and Ash for joining me. I'm Andy Needham, and I'll see you in another episode of the Playing Arts podcast.